My little cousin accidentally sees me play an adults-only rated Xbox game, so his mum sues me. So we were having a family reunion because my grandpa set it up, and he's one of those really old radical hippie dudes, mid-80s, not the surfer type obviously, but the existential ones. Little did I know he got it from a lot of green herb smoking in the 60s through 90s, and I'm honestly amazed he isn't dead. Okay, back on track. Every time we had a reunion, the location would change from one of the family's houses to the next. And this year, it was ours. So we were having a good party. I was upstairs chatting with a friend on Xbox Live. Everybody could hear our conversation, but they were confused when they came into my room, without knocking, very rude, to see only me. About 3 times that night, I heard an acknowledging, "Oh," like they'd just found a fricking cure to all terminal illness. It was irritating. My friend and me weren't playing the same game, but we were just having a casual chat, since my friend's parents were strict on curfew and wouldn't let him out past 9. And then my fricking entitled aunt and her kid showed up, with about 5% battery left on his Nintendo Switch. He was playing Smash Ultimate. If anyone asks, he was a Bayonetta main and I'm a King K. Rool main. Enter this ridiculous circus of a conversation. My cousin was whining, "Mommy, my game ran out," crying with crocodile tears. "Okay, honey, I'll get you something to play with." "Oh wait, there's my cousin. Hi cousin, do you still have your Xbox?" This seems innocent at first, but let me give you some backstory. My cousin is a toxic gamer. He's 11, what did you expect? I mean, the radiation from the toxicity is instantly deadly as soon as he dies once on Fortnite. He has broken not 1, not 2, but 5 of my controllers. That's like $400 at least. So I said, "No, I sold my Xbox to get this toaster. Look, it has LED lights. Whoa, cyborg toaster." This was an obvious lie. "What? Why? I swear you're the dumbest person I've ever fricking met." But look at this cool toaster." "Nobody cares about the fricking toaster," he screamed at the top of his lungs. "Whoa, dude, breathe in, out. "I don't care about your meditating bullcrap. Why the frick would you sell your Xbox, you retard?" "Because toaster." The toaster was $15 at most. My cousin storms off to his mum crying. I thought he was going to suffocate. He was wasting so much oxygen on crying. I went back to my room to avoid the 11-year-old baby and play some Watch Dogs for the nostalgia. You know the part where you talk to an exotic dancer and she isn't wearing a lot of clothing in particular, and you can see some no-no parts? Yeah, I was on that part. My cousin walks in yet again and sees the lady in question's chest. My cousin is now freaking traumatized and runs to his mother again. So we enter stage 2 of this whole debacle. She storms into my room. "What the frick did you just show my son?" I say, "It was an accident, I swear, and I never gave him permission to come into my room." "He's not a fricking vampire, he can go wherever he wants." "Okay, I'm fine with that, just stay out of my room from now on." "My little angel can do whatever he wants. He told me everything. I'm taking all of your electronics and I'm suing you for emotional trauma." "Okay, first of all, you can't take my stuff, that's stealing. Second, get out of my room. Third, even if you tried to sue me, I could just say that you tried to steal my belongings, which is true. And fourth, I never gave you permission to come into my room and he should know basic manners by now. All of this is your fault and you're setting a bad example for your child." And this witch has the audacity to throw a comeback. "Excuse me, I am the adult and you are a dumb 14-year-old. Then my frickin' cousin cuts in again. "Mom said we're taking all of your stuff and that's final. See what happens when you open your mouth? This is because you're a dumb 14-year-old and you have the nerve to talk back to me. I'm an adult and I can punish you however I want." Little did they know the wild granddad was stalking his prey. Presumably my aunt and cousin. The wild granddad strikes with a comeback and overheard the last parts of the conversation. He storms into my room. "Get out of my daughter's house now. I don't know why my son married you. To think I have a thief for a daughter-in-law." Then my friend tunes in over the chat system. I heard the entire conversation too. He has a really crappy mic, so that's why he hadn't said anything and had only fixed it now. To be honest, I was pretty shocked as well. I thought he was away from keyboard or something, but little did I know, my friend went absolutely sicko mode on my entitled aunt. "My frickin' god, stop touching his stuff or I'll call the cops. We will agree to sue you for attempted theft and verbal abuse. You're in the wrong, wake the frick up. Keep in mind that there are more people defending him than you, so there's little chance the trial will be in your favor. You'll be in community service, and I know the kind of person I'm dealing with. You're the kind of person who thinks everything can be handed to them on a silver platter, but guess what? If you don't leave OP alone now, you'll be lucky to find a plastic bag to use. My aunt was very religious and thought Satan was speaking to her. She isn't the most tech-savvy person in the world and confuses a Nintendo Switch for a Game Boy. Yeah, she knows nothing about tech. Spawn of Satan, leave me alone or I'll put the crucifix on you. You dare hurt a person of God, and I'll exorcise you with my own bare hands. My friend just answers, "'Kay, I am in the right because I follow the word of God. Anyone who doesn't agree with me has crawled out of the depths of hell." My granddad was getting pretty teed off and called on my uncle to get his wife out of my room. I forgot about my cousin and then saw him running down the stairs with my Xbox One, 2 terabytes and around 80 digital games, and he was running as fast as he could to my aunt and uncle's car. Thankfully, Grandpa and Uncle got my aunt out of my room by locking her shoulders, I'm not kidding, and literally lifting her up into the air so she couldn't move. It was weird. Uncle saw my cousin with my Xbox. My Xbox is the original black and white, and my cousin already had an Xbox One S. Those things are white. I don't know why he stole my Xbox, maybe it was for the games. But my uncle was having none of it. "Where did you get that Xbox?" "It was mine. OP stole it when he came to my house the other week." "Don't pull that crap with me. I know your Xbox is white." He repainted it to make it look like it isn't white." "So I'm just saying, stop, that's my Xbox." "See, give it back now." My cousin is bawling his eyes out as he gives me my Xbox. My aunt gets back in the car after Granddad, my friend, and my uncle threatened to call the cops. My aunt and uncle at this point in time are going through a divorce, and for some reason, my aunt got custody because of laws favoring women in custody of children. Grandpa now helps my uncle pay child support. Excuse me, what the frick? Uncle makes a great dad, and I think he should have custody. My final messages are, don't be a jerk in front of your kid, and don't think you can get away with stuff because of your kids. Well, that was a journey into the deepest family reunion from hell. The cousin is certainly plausible despite what some people might think. I've met any number of kids like this who have flown into screaming furies because they wanted to play video games, and I can imagine that if they really did have a parent who enabled them this much, that something like this and the $400 of equipment damage could have occurred this way. Also, why has nobody held them accountable for these damages before? I'm just sad that this absolute monster of an aunt didn't actually try to sue a 14-year-old kid for having tig-old biddies on a television screen when the younger one barged in. As an aside, I can fully believe that this post was written by a 14-year-old, because you would not believe how much content I had to cut out of this post. As a bonus, I've located another crazy story from the same awful woman and her offspring, which we present to you after this message. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, linked below. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. Okay, at the end of my last post, I said that my entitled aunt got custody of their kids. This made my uncle furious. He was so loving and so caring to his child, my awful cousin, and his other 3 sons. We all saw how he cared for his children. However, my aunt thought that she could buy her children's love. They were brainwashed and bought it until their teens when they realized what she was doing. Nobody bought it except my cousin, who was 11. He was very spoiled, and he was a total suck-up for stuff he wanted. The court trial was today actually, and oh boy, this was spicy. So, at the court trial, about 5 minutes in, the judge told my aunt to tell her side of the story. She made up some crap about how we oppressed her and her child. The court trial was going in her favor just because she lied. The judge was intrigued and then asked my uncle about the incident. My uncle was mad as heck. All that anger empowered him, and it went as followed. First of all, Your Honor, none of that which was said by her was true. I have witnesses to prove it. Me, my granddad, and my friend were there at the court, because my friend is my uncle's ex-sister-in-law's son, so in a way we're related, I guess? We were both defending my uncle because we knew what happened. The judge asked if any of the witnesses were here today. Me, my friend, and my granddad all stood up. We all gave evidence, and we even mentioned my aunt's habit of buying her children's love instead of connecting with him. My cousin was shocked that his mother would do that, and he thought she was just being nice. She only bought her child's love, so he preferred her, and when she and uncle had got a divorce, my uncle had had to pay child support. That was all mentioned. My aunt was shocked that they mentioned all those things about her. She had no idea that all of this was going to come up. But the best thing was we hadn't even gotten to the attempted theft. When we mentioned this, she was petrified. In her head, she must have been screaming, "No!" Before the court trial, we had told Uncle everything since he had missed out on half the stuff that happened in my room. We exchanged a lot of information, and we were certain we would win with all this evidence. My uncle said, "Your Honor, first of all, my ex-wife had committed an act of verbal abuse by threatening to sue," and he gestured to me, "for doing nothing wrong. Second of all, she had told our child to steal his Xbox because he wouldn't give it to them even though it's his property. This woman who I mistakenly called my wife is a thief and a bully, and a person should not have contact with a child. I'm concerned for the morals that my son would learn from her, and I don't want him to grow up to be a criminal. I just want to raise my child who I believe would be better in my hands than hers. I'd give him a loving home and food and a bed. I'd try and earn my child's love by taking the best possible care of him instead of buying him out. Your Honor, for 3 months since the divorce, I feel like I've been stripped of my parenthood. I want the best for him, and I want to grow up to have a successful and safe life, and not go down the path of a criminal. So please, Your Honor, let me feel like a parent again." The judge was shaken. My aunt was on the verge of tears, and she knew that she was screwed and that she'd lost. She went into a psychotic mental breakdown and tried to physically attack my uncle. She was apprehended by security and was sentenced to a month in jail for attempted assault and theft. After that, my cousin was happy to be reunited with his dad. I really hope my aunt is enjoying prison. She's definitely in the game now. Case closed. Okay, so although a lot of this seems a little like something out of a child's imagination of what a court case might look like, let's go along with it anyway. It sounds like this woman definitely shouldn't be raising kids given some of her more, crazy tendencies, and her behavior in both stories speaks of her being exactly the sort of Karen that regularly features on the channel. So at least if she's got a criminal record now, she might think twice before exhibiting any of these behaviors. As for the cousin, hopefully he'll thrive under a better role model and will begin to realize that smashing controllers and cussing out your cousin for the crime of not having an Xbox might not be behavior that's tolerated anymore. I should state that this update did make me wonder whether the set of stories actually happened, but hey, people as crazy as these frequent our other stories, so let's just say that this could be added to our portfolio to inform curious viewers of what jerks look like. Dealership tried to screw over my mum, and my dad wasn't going to let that happen. This is one of my favorite stories about my dad from when he and my mum were younger. When my mum was younger, she didn't have a lot of money, so my dad helped her pay for the down payment on her first car. I can't remember what the brand was, besides that it was an Asian make. She drove it around for a few days, and suddenly the paint started to chip. When she took it back to them to say, "Hey, this car isn't even a week old and the paint's chipping," they basically told her to take her new car and F off. Now, my mum is not one to be trifled with, but she couldn't get anywhere with the dealership. So my dad had this great plan. He bought a poster board and wrote, "I bought this car a week ago and the paint is already chipping, and the dealer name doesn't care." He parked right outside their property so that they couldn't tell him to leave, but close enough that every customer going into the lot saw the car and the sign. I'm guessing they felt the sting pretty quickly, because they went out to my dad and replaced the car within a few hours. Having a reputation for cars that have issues after a few days can't be good for business, I guess. In short, my dad gave my mum some money for a down payment on a car, and a few days later paint was chipping and the dealership didn't care. Dad made a sign saying they'd had it for a week and the paint was chipping, sat outside the dealership with the car and the sign until the dealership caved and replaced the car. This is beautifully simple and did the most effective thing you can hope to do against people like this, which is, of course, punching them right in the wallet. Good job. And given the cost of cars, I can see why they were as quick as they were with the response. A piece of MDF and some black paint might have potentially cost them thousands of dollars in sales after just a few hours. So it's a cost-effective solution from your parents, as opposed to the hundreds or thousands they might have spent on a new car otherwise. I've read posts before where people claim that people who run car dealerships are basically just the school bullies of a town who've found their calling in pressuring people out of their money and laughing about it, So I'm glad, as always, to see someone beat them and get a fair stick out of the story. It was just a bad outfit choice. I work at a ropes course outdoors, so our uniform is a light blue t-shirt and khaki shorts. It can look like regular clothes, especially when we don't have to tuck our shirt in, but our shirts do have obnoxiously large graphics that say things like staff and ropes course operator, so it shouldn't be hard to pick us out from the crowd. So anyway, it's the middle of summer and the ropes course is packed with kids and their screaming mothers. There's always an operator on the course to make sure no one is in trouble, and we only keep one on there, so we have enough people on the ground. Sometimes the operator is already busy helping someone else or just can't see everything all the time because there are 40 other people around the 3-story climbing frames. I'm on the ground with all the parents and there's a lady screaming up to their kid. Parents do this all the time and we usually let it go on for a bit before we intervene, because usually it works itself out. After a bit, one of us goes and checks on the lady who is still screaming, and it's your typical case of the kid is scared and refusing to move. There isn't much we can do from the ground, so we get the operator on the course's attention. He goes down and helps them for a bit and then has to leave. The lady goes back to screaming. After a couple of minutes, the little kid comes down off the course and the parent is furious. She's screaming at us now about how it's unbelievable that her child couldn't have complete one-on-one help and demands to know the names of the 2 men that stood around up there. That's when we stop. What? 2 men? She says, "Yes, I've been standing here trying to get their attention for an hour," she'd been there 20 minutes max by the way, "and neither of them will listen to me." There aren't 2 people up there and we can't commit to just one person, everyone needs to be helped out here. "Yes, there were 2 staff members. Look, one there and one guy over there." She then points to this middle-aged dad following around his kids wearing a light blue t-shirt and khakis. We tell her that man doesn't work here, he's here with his family. Luckily, this flustered her enough that she didn't ask for the name of the other guy to report him. Not that my manager cares, we get those reports all the time anyway. I wonder if it was a calculated choice on the part of the dad to wear his particular choice of outfit. It does seem like an appropriately troll-like thing that an embarrassing dad would do, but admittedly I can't see why anyone would want parents screaming at them when they aren't employed by a place like this, so either it's just an unfortunate coincidence or maybe he just didn't think this one through. I must say that I'm a little surprised that the policy of these places is to just wait until the kids calm the frick down and come down off the course of their own volition, given that I assume that they are in some cases paralyzed by fear. But then again, I'm not one of the seasoned experts and have no better ideas. So I assume this woman didn't have a better idea either, which begs the question of what did she think they could do? At least she was so overtaken with embarrassment that she forgot to lodge a complaint. All's well that ends well. Am I the jerk for telling my sister I'm never babysitting for her again? I'm a 37-year-old guy and am single, child-free and have 2 dogs, German Shepherd mixes. They are very well behaved and super nice, and my nibblings, aged 2 to 13, love them. I have 4 sisters and they have 10 kids total, so I babysit a lot. I work from home and am pretty much always available to watch the older ones, since I can easily work while they're in my apartment. And when they need to care for the little ones, I just move my schedule around a bit. Yesterday, 4 of my nibblings were at my place. These ones were 3, 5, 7, and 8. The 7 and 8-year-olds are siblings. I have just one super strict rule at my house: no chocolate. It's deadly for dogs. I don't like it anyway, and kids can easily go an afternoon without it. The 7 and 8-year-old obviously bought chocolate with them and shared it with the 3 and 5-year-olds. I was in the kitchen making them drinks and they were in the living rooms. My dogs were sleeping on the balcony. I came into the living room and there were obviously chocolate crumbs everywhere. I asked who had the chocolate, and the 7 and 8-year-olds admitted that Mum gave it to them and they always have some with them, but usually eat it in secret. When my sister came to pick them up a few hours later, I told her what happened and she said that her kids are big enough not to make a chocolate mess. I told her I'm never babysitting for her again. She's furious and says I overreacted. Another sister of mine agrees with her, and my mother thinks I'm in the wrong for putting my dogs before the children. Am I the jerk? Nope. Some might say that it's a little bit of a harsh reaction, but if she's actively encouraging her kids to not follow your rules in your house, and then to conceal that from you, that's a major breach of trust when you're already doing her such a huge favor by looking after her kids. That's the big no-no here. Me and my siblings regularly did things that were against the rules in our own and other people's households all the time, but you can be darn sure our parents would not be on our side if they found out. Not okay, sister of the author. How are you meant to trust those kids again? If your family all agree with her, it sounds like they just agreed to babysit her kids instead of you. Enjoy the chocolate stains, family. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want to check out some great music, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.